Hello and welcome back to Just Ask Mrs. Hurlbutt, episode 24. Our topic today is surviving a breakup. Wah, wah, wah. Why did I choose this topic? It comes up all the time, every year, no matter what's going on. It happens in the classroom, not in the classroom, but I get students stay after school all the time and say, help, what am I going to do? So we're back again. It's late again. Lucy's here again. Hi, Lucy.
Hi, Mom.
Hi. So there are so many strategies for breaking up. It seems hard to believe, but there's a good way to do it. There's a bad way to do it. There's healthy ways to move forward and very unhealthy ways to move forward. And finally, there's a lot of benefits that come from breakups. We just have to see them, recognize them for what they are, and take advantage of the lessons that are being taught. So, shoot, what do we got?
Okay. When will I stop thinking about my ex all of the time?
Oh my goodness. When you are in the throes of a breakup, that seems like infinity. And whenever anybody asks me that question, which that one comes up a lot, I will say, I promise you, you will not feel this way forever. In fact, I'm going to go out on a limb and say, in 1 year, or maybe even less, you will not be thinking about this person every single day. And when I do say that, most people don't want to hear it. They don't believe it. Their grief is so low that they don't see any way of climbing out of it. So the short answer is it will happen. When it happens is really entirely up to you and how you want to respond to your suffering. And that's the same way with any kind of grief, right? Mm-hmm. If you lose a loved one, that grief is yours. You own it. And it's up to you to decide when and how you want to start climbing out of it. What else you got for me? Do you like that answer?
Yeah. I think that's hard because there isn't a direct answer. I think that, and sometimes it might go in waves.
Absolutely.
I think that you might hit a patch where you're like, oh my God, I haven't thought about so-and-so in so long. And then the next month, you're right back to where you felt you were on day one.
Right. And that's exactly how grief is.
Yeah.
And a lot of it depends.
I think it is grief.
Of course.
It is.
Yeah. I read somewhere and I almost put it in this week. It was something like, sometimes, I don't want to butcher it, but it has to do with comparing grief.
Yeah.
The death of somebody. It's like grief is like breaking up is like grief, but
those things to you all the time.
Yeah, it's like a death, but the person's still alive. Mm-hmm. So sometimes people consider that, especially the people who haven't experienced actual death, find that grief to be indescribable.
Yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying? I lost train.
It goes in waves.
Oh, yeah, you said waves. It also depends on the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on how it was done, which there are actual correct ways to break up. So, more on that, maybe.
What's the best way to deal with seeing my ex on social media?
Social media? Ugh.
These are interesting questions for me to hear your perspective because two things, correct me if I'm wrong. You never went through a large breakup.
Correct.
And you didn't
have social media. Two, correct.
Yes. So it's very interesting but remember, because you watch it all the time.
But I'm coming to you having been the receiver of the information for so many years.
Yeah, that was just a tidbit that it's
right.
Very interesting.
Watch your paper, it's making a lot of noises.
Okay.
This is the whole reason I have this podcast, because I have so many students that ask me these questions and they're like, other people need to hear this.
Yeah.
And I don't know if other people agree, but I certainly know that there are still lots of 18 to 25-year-olds who are coming to me with these exact same questions. So
What's the best way to deal with seeing my ex on social
thank
media?
you've got to work first on your own confidence, knowing full well that this breakup had nothing to do with you and everything to do with the other person, assuming that they're the ones who ended it. Do yourself a favor and take a break from not just social media, but any environment that's going to exacerbate the problem instead of help push you towards healing. Social media is the worst culprit because you're usually alone when you're scrolling, right? And you just keep digging yourself deeper and deeper into a hole, and then you start comparing yourself, and then you start overthinking, and the word is failing me when you're hypersensitive to every move the other person's making. It'll come to me at some point. But you go there. You go to a deep, dark place. It's not going to do you any good. So don't look for that person on social media. And if you see that person on social media, that's your reminder to either step away from the phone or perhaps no longer watch that person on social media. I don't know the wording. Block them or unfollow. So don't put yourself in a position that is only going to exacerbate the problem.
Yeah, I think that in today's world, I think this is also very large on age. I want to say that just from my standpoint on all of this with most of these questions. I think
depends on whether you're talking to an 18-year-old or a 25-year-old.
I think there's a large, if we're talking about non-marriage parties, I think there's a large line around 20 years old of the difference between dating younger, like before you're 20 and dating after you're 20.
Totally true.
And so I think that it's hard when you're younger than 20 to manage to not see them on social media, to out of sight, out of mind, no contact. It's hard.
But you're being challenged once again to be countercultural.
Yeah.
To step away from what everybody's doing.
No, for sure. I'm just saying how to go about it is different. Like when you're under 20, I would say you kind of just have to step away from all of the media. Whereas if you're older than 20, it's a little easier. You're not so intertwined, depending on how you met.
You probably also have a little more self-control. That would be the goal. I tell my students all the time, the older you get,
you're just a little bit more aware.
The more disciplined you get. Yeah. And hopefully the more self-confident you are. And so you're not putting yourself you're not judging who you are, what you're about. You're not second-guessing the decisions that you're making.
I think that's probably the number one thing that breakups make you do, though, so that's hard.
Yeah,
no matter what age.
Listen, I never broke up, but I dated your father from 17 until 24. And whenever there were any hiccups in our relationship, the ones that we faced between, like you said, between 17 and 20 were handled very differently than they were when we were 20 to 24. Partly we were more mature,
but also more on the line.
We were closer. It was more on line because we were getting closer and closer to
a
future together. And if we were going to run into hiccups after 20, we really had to think long and hard about.
Well, at that point, they become possible deal breakers or decision making.
Yeah, but it's interesting because we never had it. Maybe one. We didn't. The deal breakers didn't really happen the closer we got. I shouldn't say that. No, there was one come to blows that were like, okay, we better figure this out.
Yeah.
Because this is it. This is do or die time. We either move forward or we go our separate ways.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
How do I cope with loneliness after a breakup?
Use that time as solitude. There's a difference between loneliness and solitude. So, yes, be in your aloneness, but nurture yourself in that aloneness. And then on the other side of that, surround yourself with support. Be around the people who are going to elevate you, lift you up, allow you to grieve, but carry you through that grief. Not distract you from it to the point where they stifle it. That's what a lot of people do. They rebound into new relationships, or they go out and have a lot of fun and they party it up every night because they just don't want to think about it. Surround yourself with people who will lift you up, give you the shoulder, Make sure you eat. Make sure you get to where you need to go safely, but try not to wallow, because that's where you naturally want to go.
I said something to you, not to interrupt you, but I said something to you a few months ago that you really liked. That I think I will tell every young person that goes through a breakup that, like, to feel it, but to not sit in it. And because if you don't feel it, then you're just prolonging the effects and the healing and the growth.
Right.
But if you sit in it, then that can be damaging.
It can be.
That's when the loneliness takes over and it gets really scary.
Yeah, you have to get to the point where you start to see things objectively, and oh my goodness, that's so hard.
Yeah.
To step out of your subjectivity, the trenches that you've been in, and to be able to see things from somebody else's, like my vantage point. That is growth. That is an aha moment of, oh, I'm getting there. It's going to happen. And then you start to see all the valuable lessons that came from that relationship, the takeaways that you want to keep up and the takeaways that you never want to have to deal with again.
Yeah. I think that specifically with loneliness, again, this is just my 2 cents, but I think depending on the person, you need to be careful of what situations, like when you say, like, surround yourself with people that care about you and love you. I think that there's also a world in which sometimes the bigger the group of people, the more lonely you feel.
Yeah.
And I have found in my history that always having someone around when that loneliness was kind of taking over was so helpful. But I did try to avoid very large events.
You were selective about those people.
And if I was in, this would just be my advice to someone going through it. If you're in those large events because you have to be, or because life moves on and you can't avoid everything, let's say holidays, birthdays, family,
weddings and trips,
you can't miss. Mm-hmm. Just pick one person, pick 2 people, and it will make you feel like there's not 100 people in that room.
Yeah, they're like the lighthouse, the beacon in the darkness.
Yeah, it'll make you feel like you're just there with that person and not so much like everyone's there with each other except for you. That's just my little.
But the loneliness is real. Again, this is from hearing about it over and over and over again. But it doesn't last forever. In fact, the goal would be to have it work in your favor. That when you come out the other side, you are stronger. You have such great ideas for how you want your future to look. You have vision, and that's so important. Those relationships are so valuable if you utilize them to your favor, to your advantage.
Okay, here's a big one.
Uh-oh.
Is it possible to be friends with my ex?
That's a big it depends. I'll tell you when it does work. If you are friends first. If you are friends first and you take a chance on the relationship and you date and then you break up and you have all the same friends, it's going to take time, but you could go back to being that person's friend. I know people in my life who have done that. I have one person in my life who shall remain nameless because this person, I think, listens to the podcast. And it's a he. He has found this beautiful way of staying close to anybody he's ever dated. It took time, but they came back and they stayed friends. And it was mostly because he started out as friends with them.
I know someone like that.
When you, like if it had been, well, we never broke up. We never will. So we can't even count us. But someone like us who fell in love not having been friends first, it would be much more challenging.
Yeah, I think,
because you've never known that dynamic.
Again, age. I think it's a lot easier under 20 to stay friends. I think it's a lot harder over 20 to stay friends. I think it depends on the seriousness
that was going to be the next
of
thing
the relationship. And usually when you date older than 20, it's a little more serious.
So I was just going to say, the more you invest your heart and your body, for that matter, into a relationship, the harder it's going to be to ever look at that person the same again. Because you've crossed a line. You've crossed the intimacy line. You have opened your heart like a cavity and just said, here, I'm all yours. So if that person leaves, it's really hard to make room for friendship again. But people do it. I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
It's not possible.
I will say I've experienced both. I, again, think also how the breakup was handled affects that greatly.
Totally. I don't know if anyone's going to ask about that, but there is a technique for breaking up well and doing it respectfully and not ghosting somebody and really talking it through in a very adult, mature way.
But then I think there's also ways that you can handle the breakup well. That doesn't mean you have to be friends or that the outcome is any different. I think that it's just the best way to do. If you're the person that's going to break up with someone, yes, do it in the most healthy way possible, minimize the damage. But I think that the outcomes, it doesn't, I just would say I don't think it minimizes how hard it is still to be broken up with, even if it's done
of course
healthily.
Of course. But if you come from a place of love and kindness and compassion, it softens the blow.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay. How do I know when I'm ready to start dating again?
Oh, you'll know. You will know. Everybody's different. All I can say is that when you break up with somebody, you got to keep your eyes open, not just for the possibilities, but open to the reality of where you are in this scenario and how this breakup is impacting you, and feel all the feels of your stamina coming back, your strength coming back. Suddenly you're taking showers again and putting on makeup. If you're, whoever you are, putting on makeup. You start to care a little bit more about you and the world around you. So that is the first step. And once you grow in your confidence, what happens is you think less and less and less about that person.
Yeah, it all ties back. I always
say they're slipping away into your past in a nice little bow, and you're thinking, I'm taking away X, Y, and Z from that relationship, and I'm growing, and I'm stronger now, and I'm ready. And it totally depends on the person. What I wouldn't suggest is jumping into the hookup culture and saying, well, it didn't work the traditional way, so I'm just gonna have some fun and not let my heart get broken.
I do think also, though, two things. One, don't start dating right away.
No.
Even if you think you're ready, I promise you, right away, date yourself first. Go, even if you were very confident before the relationship, you have to fill that tank back up yourself.
Remember, you gotta love yourself before you can love anybody else. And a breakup can it won't break that relationship with yourself, but it could damage it enough that you second guess everything you do, say, or think.
And I also think my second thing would be not the hookup culture, but have fun. Breakups cause you to feel like everything is falling apart, everything's so serious. And depending on your age, if you're lucky enough for that to happen before it affects multiple things in your life, just other aspects of your life, like living together, anything like that. If you're just dating, you don't live together, there's no kids involved, nothing like that, I think it's a blessing to be able to just be let's not put so much pressure on everything while still doing everything very healthily, maintaining your values.
Right.
All of
Maintaining your values is key because, and this is a whole nother topic, but dating today is a very different world than dating was when I was dating. And we had a lot more boundaries, and we there was nothing wrong with dating multiple people because you weren't having sex with multiple people. You would go out with somebody on Friday and go out with somebody on a Saturday, and you'd reflect on Sunday and decide who you might want to go out again with. People don't do that now, right? At least I don't think they do. So when you say have fun, I just want to make sure that
I mean, have
my
fun in life.
definition of
I'm not
that-
saying go have fun with a girl or go have fun with a boy intimately. I'm just saying go have fun in life. Like,
Yes.
just let
Yes.
go of how serious your life just
Yes.
became during that breakup.
Yes.
And maybe think a little lighter. Don't take that the next person, I think after a breakup, a lot of people think that it's so scary who the next person might be, that there's so much pressure. It's so serious. It has to be the one.
Right. And you got to be very careful of rebounds. Rebounds
Exactly.
can be
That's what I'm saying.
dangerous. And rebounds can end up,
Can be the most unhealthy.
well, they could end up becoming a marriage that you realize 10 years later you want out of. So dating is one thing. Marriage is a whole nother ballgame, guys. So when you are ready to date again, keep that in mind that when you get married, you can't just easily jump ship. You shouldn't. And I will at some point address that. So did we get all the questions?
Yeah.
So breakups stink, you guys, but they're kind of necessary. Most people don't get through life without at least one.
You did.
No, I mean, I had breakups before your father in high school.
At 15 years old.
I did. And I want to say that probably split down the middle. I probably dated 4 guys, and 2 of them broke up with me, and I broke up with 2 of them. So I know the pain.
I'm not saying you don't.
But the big one was Mr. Hurlbutt. So, yeah, no breakup there. So, are we done?
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you have any more questions about breaking up, I'm sure there are so many more that we could talk about that I could answer. But please just know that you are lovable, that you are worth being loved, and don't let another person define your value. If you're going to break up, take the lessons from that breakup to grow stronger in your own belief of self so that you can bring your best self out into the world and into whatever the next relationship might be. So thanks, Lucy. Thanks, everybody. I think it's bedtime.
Yep.
We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.